David, you are a internationally known and respected performer, and I thank you for spending the time with us today. And you're here because you're going to be in concert through the Emelin Theatre on December 23rd, I think. Is that right?
Yes, just the night before Christmas.
And this is called the Not Exactly Christmas Show. Can you tell the story about how that name came about?
Well, frankly, I was booked to do a show in back 25 years ago. I'm actually celebrating the 25th anniversary of the David Broza Not Exactly Christmas Show, and I was going to put on a show at this time of year to celebrate music and to celebrate our life. You know, this is a great. It's a perfect time, especially in New York City, in the New York area. This is where it started, to celebrate. You know, to celebrate. No need to give any more explanations. And being a musician, I wanted to attract as many audiences as possible. But normally we would do this show on Christmas Eve, on the 24th. And as a matter of fact, the original idea was that I was doing it at the Town Hall, which is a beautiful theater in Midtown, New York City. And we were going to be doing the show. My shows tend to be long sometimes. So I was going to do the show up to about 11 o'clock at night and then invite the audience to go with me to listen to the midnight mass. So it would be a wholesome night of Christmas for those who are Jewish, for those who are not Jewish, for those who are Christians, Muslim, anybody doesn't have a family to be with that night or whatever. And we filled out for year after year after year, we'd fill out the hall. And every year I would bring special musicians as guests, and it's just became one of these traditions. And I couldn't call it a Christmas show for the life of me. I mean, I don't play one Christmas song in my repertoire. So I thought, okay, just call it the Not Exactly Christmas Show, but it is on Christmas and we should all be able, and sometimes I've done 23rd, 24th, and 25th. I would do all these different, just fill these dates, you know, because there was such high demand for it.
So how would you characterize your style, your musical style? I see the guitar in the background. That's primarily your instrument.
It's my Spanish guitar. Well, yes. I play the Spanish guitar, classical guitar. This is it. I'll play a few notes later, but you know, I do come from rock and roll, and many when I was really a teenager, I used to hitchhike a lot, and there was no point in carrying an electric guitar with me, which is what I was playing, or a steel string, which was way too big. And Spanish guitar is small, intimate, and you can carry it just on your back. Nobody, when you're hitchhiking, nobody really cares. They'll take you no matter what. Especially if you have a Spanish guitar in Spain, where I was spending my teenage years. It was just a perfect instrument. So, you know, this is my main instrument. I play it for over 50 years, you know, and it's just the perfect instrument for all my music. But if you want to categorize my music, that's not, the guitar is not what makes it a little bit hard to categorize. It's the styles that I come from. Being born in Israel, raised in Israel, and having spent so many years between Israel and Spain, and influenced by so much music from the United States, rock and roll, jazz, folk, and all that, my music is very eclectic. So my playing sometimes tends to sound like it's flamenco, but I'm not a flamenco player. Then it sometimes could sound classical. I'm not a classically trained musician. I'm a bit of everything. And so it's eclectic, and it's in 3 languages, which are the languages I command, you know, Hebrew, which is my mother tongue, English, which we're speaking in now, and Spanish, which I I learned over the years. So it's very eclectic. It's hard to categorize, but it's, you know, it's love songs, fun. And on this show that I'm doing on the 23rd, I have my Cuban musicians with whom I came to the Emelin Theatre, less than a year ago, I think, to a sold out house. And we've been playing my music in the last 2 years together, giving the Latino Cuban vibe from the pure essence of it, not just the salsa dance vibe, but a real folky and deep-rooted sound, which, along with my music, tends to be the perfect fusion. So it's a lot of fun.
I hear that you often have guest performers come in. Can you tell us who might be a guest on the 23rd?
Mm-hmm. Well, originally, in the first show that I did, and this is what I'm doing as a celebration, so I invited these people back on. I brought in one of my closest friends, who was the leader of Spyro Gyra, the great jazz band.
Ah,
He's Jay Beckenstein. And Jay also used to own a recording studio upstate New York, and I used to record there a lot. We became very, very close friends and colleagues in creating music and performing. So he joined my band, and then along came with him the guitarist from Spyro Gyra, Julio Fernandez, and my good friend Frankie Centeno, who started his career as Aretha Franklin's bass player, Ashford and Simpson, and still is considered one of the top bass players in New York City area. And so these of the four members of the original band, three are coming and joining, and but there will be a capsule within the show which will add just a little more special, vibe and fun to the repertoire.
so on the 23rd, you, as I understand it, are going to be playing to a private audience at the City Winery, but it's going to be live streamed to dozens of locations, and one of them is the Emelin. So for people who want tickets, where do they go?
Well, you go to the Emelin Theatre.
Right.
That's for
Emelin
sure.
website, I think. Right?
Emelin website. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes.
I will correct also. That last week, this past Monday, all indoor dining was banned again, and so we will be playing to an empty room, and only streaming across the country. And the interesting thing is, as all musicians and also theaters have had to close their plans until further notice. I've been trying to be creative on how do I maintain my presence with music. So besides doing dozens and dozens of shows from my living room where I'm sitting now, I thought, on a special occasion like this, how about if we do connect ourselves to 10, 15 or more theaters across the country? If it's the Fox Theater in Tucson, Arizona, if it's the Arc in Ann Arbor, if it's the Emelin Theater. I mean, there's lots and lots of them, and each one will open its through the website. Will open their doors and promote this to their own audiences, and also create an active presence of the theater itself for its community. And I think this is a test. We don't know whether this will succeed or not. The price of the ticket is very fair. It's $10, and if you're sitting with your family or friends, you can, on the same $10, enjoy the show on your screen or on your phones or computer, whatever. So we're gonna give it a shot and see how it works, versus doing a free show and not being able to even pay my musicians a basic fee for coming to play and for all the expenses that we have around. So it's a trial, and frankly, I just can't wait to play with my musicians and to really get a feel what it's like across the country when you suddenly get on board, suddenly a chat, somebody writes, "Hey, Broza, we're out here in Tucson, Arizona," or we're up in Westchester, in mamaroneck, and
the audience will be able to communicate with you through the chat.
Normally there are chats. As a matter of fact, the funny thing about the chats, this is something that's developed, and just try to imagine it yourself. I'm playing and I see on the screen some chats. "Hey, Broza, can you play us this song and this song?" while I'm playing. And then some guy discovers Joey on the list of people viewing who he hasn't seen, and he's in Nevada right now. And he says, "Joey, where have you been?" And they're talking now between them. There's a whole conversation going on. Nobody's saying, "Hey, shut up, I can't hear the music." Everybody's happy. Everybody's sitting in the front row and having the most intimate performance of an artist, which is not the same as sitting in the room in the same hall. But I can say that there is something about even our conversation now, that somebody's eavesdropping on us or watching us.
Yes.
It's probably the most direct. There's no microphones. There's nothing in between us. And we're really speaking to each other in the most intimate and candid way. And that's a luxury,
Well, this is my first time meeting you and talking with you, but I'm going to tune in. It sounds like a great show. It sounds like you're going to have fun, and what you're planning for the audience, I'm going to have fun. So
yeah, for sure. And I'm going to have, we're all going to have fun with this.
Okay, for tickets, it's the Emelin website, which is emelin.org. And the tickets are $10, and the show is the Not Exactly Christmas Show. The performer is on screen. It's David Broza. David, thank you so much for coming on LMC Media, and you could play us out.
goes like this. אנו לכאן, מתחת השמיים, שניים כמו זוג עיניים. יש לנו זמן, מתחת השמיים, בינתיים, אנו כאן. את ואני, או את ואני, והמיטה רחבה, לתת אהבה, לילה ויום, או לילה ויום, והחיוך יצא שוב קצה, ובאנו לכאן, מתחת לשמיים, שניים כמו זוגתיים. יש לנו זמן מתחת לשמיים, בינתיים אנו כאן. שנינו אחד, כן שנינו אחד, אחד שלם והכל, שלם ובידו, בואי ניתן, אני אתן לך לתת, את לי לתת באנו לכאן, מתחת לשמיים, שניים כמו זוג עיניים. יש לנו זמן, מתחת לשמיים, בינתיים, אנו כאן.